Welcome. Take It Out with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Tony Kujawa, who is the VP of Sales in the U.S. market at GoSecure. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Jessica.
Welcome. Everyone's working from home, so delighted that you can make time to be on the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the edge detection, the security detection and response to the edge, because I know that with IoT and a lot more people working from home, enterprises have to make sure the security is in place and be able to detect and respond quickly to any kind of threats. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah, and at GoSecure, we specialize in endpoint detection and response. So one of the things that differentiates us is the ability for our endpoint agent to see more of what's actually going on the endpoint, which is key. So we see about 30 to 40% more than other endpoint agents, a lot around user behavior as well.
I like that you're able to detect and respond within 15 minutes. I think that's a big selling point.
Yes, absolutely. So not only do we, have the proprietary technology, but we also, manage it through a managed service, our MDR service, managed detection and response. And we go to market with a 15-minute SLA around mitigation, meaning if there's a threat or a compromise that we see, we are going to mitigate that within 15 minutes. And it actually happens within minutes up in our active response center.
What are some of the typical detection and threats that you see that your team tend to respond to? And how much of that now is really being automated when you start to see the typical high volume, similar threats all the time?
Yes, I mean, obviously malware, ransomware is extremely high as far as the threats that we see on the endpoint. And our team is, able to spot those and quarantine an endpoint and, mitigate that within minutes.
I want to ask you about the current sales environment, given that everybody is staying home, there's no more happy hours or lunch and learn opportunities for those networking in-person opportunity. And I know that's a big deal in enterprise sales. So how are you compensating? What changes do you have to make in order to make sure your sales effectiveness is still high, even though you're now really working from home?
Yeah, I was always big on my team just adding value and coming to the market that way. So we weren't, always of the mindset that, buying dinner and buying drinks was going to get us a deal, right? We wanted to be in front of people with important information at the right time. And I think you can still do that. You can send text, you can check in on people. Companies want to know how things are going with us, how things are going in our industry. They're just curious to understand, I think, the effects, on a larger scale. So, we try to have these conversations with them. It doesn't always necessarily need to be a business pitch. It's just, how are things going? What are challenges that you're seeing with some of the current projects that you have on your roadmap, and how can we help?
Some companies are setting up those virtual happy hours or virtual community meetings, just gathering to share their experiences and using collaboration tools to make it fun and still have that human connection, although we are all quarantined at this point. Have you thought of that or tried that?
Yeah, I think it's an idea. I know members of my team had been hosting, meetups and things like that that they can no longer do. So I think we are going to look at doing some of those things virtually. Absolutely.
I want to ask about your sales leadership and the effectiveness of your strategies or tactics. A lot of sales folks are looking for great ideas. What has been working for you that you would like to share?
Well, I think it's all about getting the right team in place first and foremost, and then helping them as much as possible. I believe in developing people. I believe in being, a servant leader, just enabling people to sell. By doing so, you need to put the right metrics in place. You need to rely on the correct key performance indicators. Starting out, I think, activity and pipeline are two very, very important things, right? So we need to look at over a 30, 60, 90-day period. What is our activity? What pipeline is it driving? We need to look at metrics that actually are going to result in success in the long run.
I'm excited that we have the technology to enable these rapid learning and self-development for teams and being able to track the impact of what you do. And I know that it is a challenge when everybody's remote and there's no gathering to learn on site. But I'm wondering if it's just as effective, really, to do it online, because we now are able to learn at our own pace, and collaboratively share experiences, best practices with each other. How have you evolved in your training of your reps to make sure they're still functioning and being effective as an onboarding, as ongoing learning, and just succeeding while we're all quarantined?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm personally always sending out things for them to be taking in from, whether it's a good blog or something like that. I've started an email thread with the team too, just to kind of share on a daily basis, everyone to kind of chime in what's good, what's working, a really collaborative way to, make sure that we're, not kind of isolating ourselves, and that we're, all communicating and sharing those best practices in a time where, not people can't come to the office and talk about these things, right? So how can we keep that conversation going, and how can people really, focus on improving in a time like this? A mentor said to me in 2008, when that recession was in place, right? When the pie shrinks, cut yourself a bigger piece, right? So I've tried to, instill that in my team and say, hey, things might slow down momentarily, but let's make sure that we come out of it better than we were in the first place.
Tony, I think there's a lot of challenges everyone's facing this year, but there are actually some positive outcomes that we're realizing because we're forced into this situation. What are your thoughts on possibly a better outcome?
Yeah, I think times like this, right, where you're kind of forced to move quicker, I think it speeds up inevitability. I think we were moving towards this, more of a remote working environment, right? So this is just going to speed it up. We're going to come out of this better, probably quicker. It just, that initial speed bump, people have to get over, but we're all going to be in a better spot, I would say, in 6-8 months. And we're going to be, better to work and, maintain progress.
I'm glad you're very optimistic. And that's,
you have to be.
So let's end there with a positive note that we have
Sounds good.
a lot more progress that will take place quickly after this crisis kind of calms down a bit. Thank you, Tony, for being on the show. There you have it, folks. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Tony Kujawa from GoSecure.